Ever feel like you're kind of, I don't know, stuck? Like you're just going through the motions? Like you know you're capable of more, but that drive, that spark, it's just dimmed.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Well, today we're diving deep into what actually fuels that fire within us. We're talking about unlocking your Motivation 3.0.
Love it.
And to guide us, we're tapping into the brilliant mind of Daniel H. Pink and his book, Drive.
Great
Right.
choice.
It's packed with insights, and he kicks things off with a real head-scratcher.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So get this. Did you know that paying people for blood donations actually leads to fewer people donating? It's kind of wild, right?
It's completely counterintuitive.
Right. And that's exactly Pink's point. The things we think motivate us, like those classic carrots and sticks,
Right, right.
they often fall flat when you look at the bigger picture.
It's so true, especially in today's world.
So those gold stars and bonuses, yeah, they might work for simple tasks. But what about the big stuff?
Exactly.
The creative projects, the goals that need real passion to stick.
That's a whole different ball game.
That's where this Motivation 2.0, that old carrot and stick approach, it just shows its limits.
Big time. It's like trying to run the latest, most intense video game on a computer from the 90s. It's just not going to happen.
No way. And honestly, isn't that how so many workplaces still operate? Like on that outdated system.
It's crazy, right? But it's true.
Okay, so the old ways are hitting a wall, but what I find fascinating is how this outdated system backfires in like 3 major ways.
Absolutely, yeah.
So first, think about how we organize work.
Okay.
We just assume that dangling a bigger carrot is always the answer.
Yeah.
But look at Wikipedia, right?
Interesting example.
A bunch of volunteers, they outdid a massive corporation, Microsoft, because they were driven by something else entirely. Passion, purpose, you know.
Collaboration, too. It's amazing what people can achieve when they're intrinsically motivated.
Totally. And then there's how we think about work itself. Like,
Right.
we have this assumption that people are these perfectly rational beings just chasing the next paycheck.
Classic economic theory.
But it ignores the huge role of purpose, social connection.
Creativity.
Exactly. And finally, think about how we actually do work now. We're automating all the boring, repetitive tasks.
That is great.
Right, leaving all those complex, creative tasks to us humans.
And those tasks, they need a whole different kind of fuel.
So true. So what does fuel us when the old carrots and sticks just don't cut it? Enter Motivation 3.0.
The upgrade we've all been waiting for.
And thankfully, it's not some complex algorithm or anything. It's about tapping into our innate human drives. And it all starts with autonomy.
Oh, music to my ears.
Right. And this doesn't mean slacking off, by the way.
No.
It's about owning your work.
Exactly.
And Pink, he breaks it down into 4 key areas. What you work on, when you work on it, how you get it done, and who you collaborate with.
Love that framework.
And get this, companies like Medius, they completely ditch the clock.
Wow.
Employees work whenever, wherever, as long as they deliver.
That's amazing. I wonder how that affects productivity.
Well, happier employees, higher productivity. It's a win-win.
See, autonomy for the win.
Exactly. And that's what I love about all this. It's like even small shifts can make a world of difference. So think about your own work life. Could you benefit from a little more freedom in those areas?
Yeah.
Just something to ponder.
Yeah.
It's not just about where we work, though, right? It's about, like, tapping back into that feeling we had as kids.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean.
That total immersion, right?
Yeah.
That pure joy of mastering something new,
Yeah.
building those epic Lego empires, perfecting a cartwheel, or just getting lost in a book.
The good old days.
But somewhere along the way, so many of us, we lose that.
We do. It's like we trade in that intrinsic joy for...
External validation.
Exactly. Grades, promotions, likes.
Instead of that thrill of pushing our own boundaries.
It's like we're all after that good job sticker instead of the real reward.
Totally. But here's the thing about mastery, and Pink really dives into this.
Yeah.
It's not about being naturally gifted, you know?
Thank goodness.
Right. It's about mindset. It's about believing you can actually improve, even if it's a little bit every day, and embracing the journey, even when it gets tough.
Couldn't agree more. It's about the long game.
Pink uses this great analogy. He says it's like that line that keeps getting closer and closer, but it never quite reaches its goal.
An asymptote.
Yes. You're always striving, learning, always becoming a little bit better than yesterday.
It's like those NBA players, sinking free throws. They don't stop practicing at 10 shots.
Right.
It's about putting in the hours, the focused repetitions, even when it's boring, even when it's hard.
Deliberate practice.
Exactly.
So you're telling me I need to find my inner Steph Curry, Even if it's for, like, spreadsheet formulas or perfecting my sourdough bread.
Hey, whatever gets you fired up. But you've hit the nail on the head. What are you passionate about?
Okay, yeah.
Something you could just geek out on for
I
hours.
feel like we all have something.
Exactly. That's your starting point. Identify it, break it down into smaller skills, and commit to those deliberate practice sessions. You'll be amazed at what you unlock.
Okay, I'm feeling motivated,
hmm
but there's this other piece of the puzzle we have to talk about. Purpose.
The big why.
It feels so elusive, though, right?
Yeah.
How do we even define purpose, let alone cultivate it in our daily lives?
It's a great question. And I think for me, it boils down to this: connecting your work, your passions, to something bigger than yourself.
So it's the why behind the what.
Exactly. And it's a huge part of why two people can have the same job but completely different experiences.
Daisy.
One's just punching the clock. The other feels like they're part of something truly meaningful.
And this desire for purpose, you're saying it's not just a millennial trend, right?
Yeah, not at all.
It's becoming crucial for everyone.
Absolutely. And you see this reflected in so many ways.
Like what? Give me an example.
Look at the rise of social businesses. These are companies that prioritize their impact on the world alongside their profits.
Interesting.
They're proving you can do good and do well at the same time.
Okay, that's inspiring and all, but how do I find my purpose? It feels like this big existential question, you know?
It doesn't have to be so overwhelming.
Right.
Start with this simple exercise. Imagine you had to sum up your life's work in just one sentence.
Whoa.
What would it be? That, my friend, is your sentence.
Wow, that is powerful.
Right.
But what if my current job feels completely out of alignment with that sentence?
Then you have to ask yourself, can you bring more of your purpose into your current work?
Right.
Or is it time to explore something completely new, something that truly lights you up?
This is making me think about all those studies, pink sites,
Yeah.
about people achieving these incredible goals, but they still feel totally empty.
It happens all the time.
It's like they're climbing the wrong ladder entirely.
It's not about achieving any goal. It's about achieving the right goals.
Ones that are actually aligned with who you are.
Exactly. And this ties into another fascinating concept that Pink dives into: Type X and Type I personalities.
Oh, yeah. It's like an updated take on those classic Type A and Type B personalities.
Right. So your Type X individuals, they're driven by those external rewards. Money, status, recognition. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing inherently wrong with that, and they're often very successful. But it can come at a cost.
Burnout, right.
Exactly. Burnout, anxiety, lack of true fulfillment, you name it.
Whereas your Type Is, they're all about that intrinsic motivation.
They thrive on autonomy, mastery, purpose.
And it's not that they don't care about success.
Of course not.
It's just not their primary driver.
And you know what's really interesting? They often outperform their Type X counterparts in the long run.
Really?
They're more creative, more resilient, more likely to find joy in the work itself. And that makes all the difference.
So it's not just about feeling good. It's about doing good work because you're fueled by the right things.
Now you're getting it.
So we've been talking about a pretty big shift, right? Like how we view success, how we define it.
It's a whole new ballgame.
Less about chasing those external rewards and more about like really cultivating that inner drive. But let's be real, we live in a world that still runs on money.
That's true.
So how do we reconcile these two things?
Well, luckily, Pink tackles this head-on in Drive. And, you know, he's not saying that money doesn't matter.
Right.
It's about recognizing that once you've met those basic needs, the roof overhead, food on the table, money alone, it's just not that motivating.
Yeah, it's like once you hit a certain point, more money doesn't equal more happiness or more motivation.
Exactly. In fact, he actually argues that those if-then rewards, you know, like, hit this sales target, get that bonus.
Right. The classic.
They can actually backfire.
Really?
They end up strangling creativity and that intrinsic motivation that we're trying to cultivate.
So it's like we're training ourselves to perform for the prize, not for the love of the game.
Precisely.
So what's the alternative? How do we create a more, I don't know, a healthier approach to compensation? One that actually fuels motivation.
Well, Pink throws out a pretty radical idea.
Okay, I'm listening.
He suggests paying people more than average.
Whoa. Okay, now I know some folks listening are probably thinking, hold on, isn't that like bad for business?
I know. It seems counterintuitive.
What does the research say?
Well, the research is actually pretty compelling. When you pay above market rate, you attract top talent, you reduce turnover, and you create this sense of loyalty and trust. It's an investment in your people.
Hmm.
And it often leads to higher productivity and a more engaged workforce over time.
It's like that saying, take care of your employees and they'll take care of your business.
Exactly. And look, if you do use performance metrics, at least make them meaningful,
What do you mean?
Make them holistic. Look beyond those narrow, easily gamed targets. Think about the big picture. What truly reflects the health and the long-term vision of the company.
So less about individual sales targets, more about metrics that encourage collaboration, innovation, all that good type of behavior we've been talking about.
Now you're getting it.
Okay, but what about those of us who, we don't have those traditional structures to rely on?
What do you mean?
The self-employed, freelancers, entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
How do we stay motivated and on track?
Ah, I'm so glad you asked. Pink has some great advice for that, too. One strategy is to set your own now that rewards.
Now that reward.
Yeah, like those little indulgences you give yourself after you hit a milestone.
Oh, okay, I get it. So let's say I'm finally tackling that website redesign I've been putting off.
There you go.
Instead of rewarding myself with another evening of scrolling through social media, maybe I book that weekend getaway I've been dreaming of.
Exactly. It's about finding rewards that are meaningful to you, that align with your goals and your values, and that reinforce those behaviors you want to cultivate.
I love that.
And he also talks about creating your own motivational poster.
Oh, like a more personal version of those cheesy stock photos.
Exactly. Think of it as a visual representation of your why. Maybe it's a picture of your family, a quote that inspires you, even a small object that holds significance. The key is to create something that truly resonates with you, something that will reignite your motivation when you're feeling stuck.
Okay, I'm already brainstorming.
And for those who need an extra layer of accountability, Pink suggests using tools like Stick. You set a goal, you make a public commitment, you can even put money on the line if you don't follow through.
Ooh, that ups the ante.
Right. It's a great way to kind of leverage that external pressure for good, turn it into a tool for self-motivation. Because even the most intrinsically motivated individuals, we can all benefit from a little external support sometimes.
So true. This entire deep dive has been like a masterclass in understanding what truly drives us, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
We've uncovered the limits of those old carrots and sticks, discovered the power of autonomy, mastery, purpose.
And don't forget about those type I behaviors.
Right. We've even explored some really practical strategies for cultivating motivation in our own lives, both personally and professionally.
Been a good one.
And if there's one thing I hope you take away from this whole deep dive, it's this. You are capable of achieving amazing things, but it all starts with understanding what truly motivates you, creating an environment that supports those drives, and committing to the journey, even when it gets tough.
Couldn't have said it better myself. You've got this.
This has been an incredible exploration into the science of motivation, but we've only just scratched the surface.
There's so much more to discover.
So if you're ready to really dive deep, we highly recommend checking out Daniel Pink's Drive.
It's a game changer.
And we always love to hear from you. Share your thoughts, your takeaways, even your own little motivation hacks on social media using hashtag Motivation3DeepDive.
Let's keep the conversation going.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep that inner fire burning bright.